Hey everyone, a couple of years ago I got this box set here when horror came to Shochiku because it had the X from Outer Space. All my life I've been a big fan of Japanese monster movies, kaiju movies, tokusatsu, all that fun stuff. And X from Outer Space was really tricky to find. I never saw it as a kid. I never even heard of it until I started reading the magazine G-Fan. But I found that box set, and so I finally got a copy of X from Outer Space, and I was like, oh, awesome, I can finally watch this, and I've been super busy, so I don't really get a lot of time to watch a lot of movies, even though I love to collect movies, and there are a lot of movies I like, but yeah, I just don't have a lot of time to sit around and watch them. So anyway, I finally got around to watching X from Outer Space, and it was pretty awful. No. Like, I'm used to, in kaiju movies, the actual titular kaiju usually doesn't have that big of a part. They'll show up here and there, and the main plot of the movie is focused around human characters doing something. The only problem with this is that the human characters just aren't very interesting or likable. Like, they're kind of goofball idiots through most of it. And then there's a weird thing at the beginning. Let's see... So, way out in deep space, on the way to Mars, there's some space station that's been sending missions to Mars, but the ships are always getting destroyed before they actually make it to Mars. So they send out an exploratory ship to find out what's going on. So they send the ship out into space, and one of the guys on there gets sick. So they have to stop off at a moon base and switch him out with this other guy who really doesn't want to be there. I don't really know why that was necessary. Like, I feel like they could have just started with the other guy, or just kept going with that guy. Was there a behind-the-scenes reason for why that guy didn't stick around? Is it like, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, where the third ape immediately gets killed off because the actor had claustrophobia and he didn't want to be in the makeup? Was it a situation like that? The guy, had to leave, but they had already shot stuff with him, so they're like, oh, we need a reason why he's not in the rest of the movie. Well, kill him off, I guess. Or, well, they don't kill him, they just leave him on the moon. So anyway, they go out into deep space, and there's this weird UFO that keeps hovering around them, and they're like, huh, that's weird. What do you think that thing is? Anyway, eventually, this stuff appears on the wings of the ship, and so they're like, huh, that's weird. There's stuff growing on the wings of the ship. So they go out, they collect some of it, they take it back to Earth to be analyzed, and so they put it in a container, and then it melts out of the container, it burns a hole through the container, and then the floor melts around it. It's super hot or something, and then it turns into a giant, there's a better picture of it on the sequel DVD. There it is, X. Or Monster X, whatever. So we got the giant lizard chicken thing, whatever it is. It starts going around, it's smashing buildings, doing all the classic kaiju stuff, but why? I don't know. So then they do some scientific analysis and find out that they can make this foam stuff that'll shrink it back into what it was when it was on the wings of the ship. So they do that, they shrink it down to normal size, they put it back in the container, and then I can't remember what was going on next, because I was kind of tuning out by the end of it. But anyway, yeah, there's X from Outer Space, not a very good movie. It was kind of annoying, to be totally honest. I didn't like the human characters, the monster kaiju X, whatever his name is, isn't a very interesting monster. Like, the coolest thing he has going for him is his look. It's a unique look for a monster, and I can totally see why they, considered giving him a sequel, which is not, a movie I really like either, but it is a better movie than the first one, I think, which, I wasn't expecting to not like this. It's a Golden Age kaiju movie. It's not from Toho, this is Shochiku. But still, I expected to like this a lot, because I was like, oh man, a Showa kaiju movie. I freaking love those. Like, the old Showa Godzilla movies. Actually, you know what? This might have actually taken a lot of inspiration from the Invasion of Astro Monster. Let's see, what's this? 1967. When was Astro Monster? There you are. What year was this? 1965. So yeah, this... Probably the whole space thing was probably heavily inspired by that. The only difference is Invasion of Astro Monster had some pretty likable, cool characters, a story that made sense, the kaiju scenes had, like, contextual reason for happening and were really cool. And this one, the kaiju stuff just kind of feels obligatory. It's going around smashing buildings and stuff because that's how you do a kaiju movie. And you know, the ultimate middle finger of this movie is they never actually figure out what was going on with all the spaceships in deep space. Like, I think the implication is supposed to be that X is destroying the ships, but, like, how? Did all the ships just leave the stuff on, or did they actually make it to Mars, and then the monster, like, grew full size, and just, I don't remember. Maybe they did explain it, and I was kind of tuning out. Because, like, a ways into the movie, like, at first it was holding my attention. I was like, okay, the people are going into space. We're getting a lot of stuff with these people. We have them going to a party. Oh, one of the funny running things in this, there's this girl, Michiko, who works at the moon base. And everyone is always super enthusiastic and happy to see her. Every time they go to the moon base, they're like, Michiko! There's Michiko! Oh, I'm so happy to see you, Michiko! Every time, and... Is this a joke or something? Was this a running gag? I don't get it. If it even was a gag, or was it just a coincidence everyone's always happy to see Michiko? I haven't watched the English version yet. I don't even know if the English version is on here, because... Let's see, it says, Japanese with English subtitles. So, is the English version even on here? I don't know. I know there is an English dub of it, because I've heard, like, people in GFan talk about it. So yeah, there's my experience with the X from Outer Space. Not very good. But, let's see, where did I put the other one? This is one of the rare occasions where I watched the sequel before the original movie. Usually, if I'm able to, I'll always try to watch the first movie first, even if it's a movie I don't really care for, and before I watch a sequel. But for X from Outer Space, I found this, and at first I did hold off on watching it, because I was like, I'm going to wait and try and find a tape or something of X. Or, like, I think this box set was out at the time I got this. Let's see, 2012. So yeah, it was out when I got this, because I got this brand new 2009. But yeah, I couldn't afford that. That was a pretty pricey DVD set, so anyway, I got this, and eventually I was like, I'm not going to find the original, I better watch this, or I might as well watch it. And I haven't watched this in, like, I think it might be over a decade. Because, yeah, it was only a couple of years after I got, like, I think I held off for, like, a year and a half, maybe, before I watched this. No, nothing inside. Oh, you do get a better look at, this monster, or robot, whatever here, Daimajin type of thing. I don't remember what his name was. The only thing I remember, like, there's two things that stick in my mind really clearly from this. One is this bad guy who was in disguise, and it turns out he's Kim Jong-il. Yeah. And then the other thing is Nechikoma, 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 which was the chant to summon this guy. I guess kind of like in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, that girl sings to summon King Caesar. So yeah, this movie was pretty freaking weird, and I don't know why it was made. Like, I guess maybe they were trying to relaunch X here and, like, make him a marketable franchise kaiju. Like, they were thinking, if this takes off, we can make a whole bunch of other movies with X, and they're all going to be crazy. On the back of this, the director, it says, let's see, Minoru Kawasaki, the Tim Burton of Japan. And, I guess this is kind of like a Mars Attacks type of movie, from what I remember. The tone is very similar to that. Like, it's very over the top, and then the conclusion is kind of silly, but there are good effects. It's a well-made movie. From what I remember, the monster suit is way better than it looks in the original, which, I mean, considering this was the 60s, this is 2009, 8, whatever. Yeah, it better look better. But yeah, I guess this didn't do well, or the company just didn't have any interest in exploring X further. Like, I don't know, maybe this movie killed X because it was too weird. Like, maybe Japanese audiences looked at this and they were like, alright, whatever, it's too far out for me. Then again, it's Japan. They do a lot of far out things. I don't know what the story is with this one. I'm going to be watching this again because, as dull and boring as this one was, it did kind of pique my interest in learning more about X, and I haven't watched this in years. So, I'm curious to watch this again. Maybe I'll like it way better this time around. The first time I watched this, I was just kind of like, it's just kind of a lot of nonsense going on, and then it ends, and I don't know, maybe this time I'll get something more out of it. Why do I keep opening? There's nothing in here. Oh, one of the weird things with this came with like a little booklet, which doesn't really explain a whole lot about the movie. I was hoping that they would talk about some of the behind the scenes of the movie and like why it was made, but they don't really go into deep detail about why it was made. There's some history of like, let's see, Shochiku Studios goes on for a while. There's some stuff about Godzilla and the kaiju boom. Some of Shochiku's other sci-fi horror movies. Let's see, Yeah, not really going into a lot of detail about the making of the movie. But anyway, the weird thing is the other DVDs in this set, they don't have booklets, but they do have like little essays written on the inside of the box, the cases. So that's weird. I'm not sure why they're all like that, and this one has a booklet. So yeah, X from Outer Space. If you're a fan of like Golden Age, 50s, 60s, 70s kaiju flicks, I'd recommend at least giving it a try. Like, I don't think it's one of the better ones. Like, I definitely recommend like Gappa over this. Gappa isn't a very good movie. It's very dated, but like I don't know. I've had way more fun watching that movie. And also Yongari I liked a lot better than this. And Yongari was like a pretty basic movie. I would watch X from Outer Space over Varan the Unbelievable again, though. I still haven't watched the English version of Varan. That's the next movie I've got to knock off the list. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.